Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? So, this is Atul, your host from IELTS Online Practice, and it's the 21st of March 2018. And I wanted to do a quick roundup of all the frequently asked IELTS questions that I've been getting so far from my students in March. And it's an incredibly wet and muggy day today here in Sydney, and it just seems like Sydney goes from summer to winter within a week. So last week it was 40 degrees on the weekend, and suddenly it is 19 degrees today. So just weird weather here in Sydney. Let's see what the questions were. So now, why is this important? Again, as I've said this in the past in some of my videos, if you look at the recent questions that have been asked in IELTS all over the world, you'll find that these questions have been repeating often. So sometimes you'll see one question being asked in Canada and then the same question being repeated in Australia the next week or in India the next week. So what I'm trying to do is just putting together all of these questions that have been asked around the world and then just providing it to you on this platform so that you can make your own informed decision by trying out these different topics. You'll be prepared when it is time to write your IELTS exam. If you get the same question, you'll feel less nervous. You'll have these ideas already prepared in your mind, and you can just go about writing it out. So let's have a look at, and again, for a full list of recent IELTS questions, just go to my website ieltsonlinepractice.com. and there's a section for recent IELTS exam questions and topics at the top, and that'll have a full list of all the questions. Right now what I've done is for this video I've just picked the most frequent questions that have been asked in March 2018. So let's see writing task 2 first. So now this question, I found it amazing that it was asked 8 times. It was reported 8 times by a number of our students right across the world. So from Nigeria to Ethiopia, Nepal, Russia, Kazakhstan, Rome, Turkey, India, everywhere. Let's go through the question. And today I'll probably not go in detail in brainstorming the ideas for this question. I'll probably pick up 1 or 2 questions maybe tomorrow and do the brainstorming on them. For now, I just wanted to do a quick roundup and throw these questions at you so that you can try it on your own today if you want, and send it to me if you just want me to have a look. And maybe tomorrow or day after I'll make a video with some detailed brainstorming for each of them. So let's look at this question. It says, some people are of the opinion that women should play an equal role in police or military forces like the army. Others believe that this work is unsuitable for women. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So now the last part of the question is very important. It says discuss both views and give your opinion. So what that means is it's not a do you agree or disagree question. It's more about giving both views. So you have to discuss both views. One is that women should have an equal role. The other one is women should not have an equal role. And then finally you have to give your opinion in the conclusion, or you can even give your opinion in the intro of the question itself. Let's look at another question that has been asked frequently, and this one was asked 5 times in Australia, Oman, Portugal, UK and India. And it says, in many countries, plastic shopping bags are the main type of rubbish. They cause water pollution and land pollution, so they should be banned. To what extent do you agree? Now, this is an agree or disagree question with an additional thing about giving the extent of agreement. So you have to say things like, I strongly agree or I strongly disagree with this opinion. And the opinion is what? That plastic bags should be banned because they cause a lot of water pollution and land pollution. So if you agree with it, if you strongly agree with it, then you can write both paragraphs in your body about why plastic bags cause water pollution and land pollution and they should be banned. If you completely disagree, if you strongly disagree with it, then you can write both paragraphs about why they should not be banned and why and have some supporting arguments around why you think they don't cause pollution. And if you partially agree with it, you can say, well, they cause pollution, but then it's not that bad because they save a lot of money or whatever. It doesn't matter what opinion you have, but the more important thing is you have to say whether you strongly agree, strongly disagree, or partially agree or disagree with the opinion. So these were the two writing task 2 topics that have been asked frequently in March. Let's look at a general writing task 1 topic. So general writing task 1 is a letter. It's so if you're taking the academic writing, IELTS academic writing, you will not get a question like this. This is only for IELTS general writing. So one of the questions here, which has been asked repeatedly in Saudi Arabia, Iran, and in a couple of cities in India, is that you organized a 90th birthday party for your relative in your local hotel. Write a letter to the manager about the success of the party for the elderly people, and it should contain details of the party, explain how the party was successful for elderly people, and say how one of the staff who helped you in the party, or talk about one of the staff who helped you in the party. So again, it's a straightforward letter question. It is a formal letter. You're writing to the manager of the hotel, so make it formal. Use formal language throughout the letter. At the end, use a formal ending, which is say yours sincerely or yours faithfully, instead of saying best wishes or love or bye or any kind of informal thing. So don't try to add any informal language in this letter. It's a formal letter, so address it to the manager in a formal way. And again, we'll go through some of the details of these letters in some of the future videos. The next topic that has been reported 2 times from Brazil and USA in March is write a letter to your manager explaining why you were late for work for several days, and say you are sorry, explain the situation with transportation, and give suggestions of how you intend to fix it. Again, it's a formal letter because you're writing to a manager, you're writing in a professional setting, so make it a formal letter. Use formal language, dear sir, dear madam. Again, there shouldn't be any hint of informal language in this letter. And again, end it with yours sincerely, yours faithfully. Now, going to the academic writing tasks. So if you're taking the academic IELTS, this should be useful for you. In the academic writing task, I found that there has been a question that was repeated 8 times. So this was the most frequently asked question in the academic IELTS in March. And I haven't seen the papers because this is again reported by our students who are all over the world. And so I can't really show you the map here because I've not seen it. But the question was was as follows. There were 2 maps of a historical site in 2004 and 2014 with some discoveries by archaeologists during the 10-year period. And the task's requirement was to compare the maps and explain the key features of these plans. So a lot of people forget to practice questions around maps and where you have to compare 2 maps and you have to talk about the differences between the 2 maps, or you have to talk about how things have changed from across the years in 2 maps. So it's very important to practice the maps type of questions, the questions that have maps in them, not just charts and figures, but maps and processes, as well as tables. So there are different types of writing tasks in academic writing, and you need to practice all of them if you want to do well in your academic writing task 1. So this was a maps question, and later on I found a lot of our students did not practice maps, and some of them said that they couldn't do this very well. So I highly recommend that you practice all the different types of questions that are that appear in the academic writing section, for task 1 especially, and try it out before you attempt your exam. The next task 1 that I've seen that has been reported by our students was a standard bar chart. So there were 2 bar charts, and one of them showed the percentage of boys and girls in primary schools in developed countries, underdeveloped countries, and developing countries in 2018. And the second one showed the same figures in secondary schools. So basically you had two bar charts showing different percentages of boys and girls in primary and secondary schools across different countries in 2018, and you had to compare those. So the thing about when you have 2 charts, you must write one paragraph about one chart, the other paragraph about the other chart, and you should also make comparisons between the charts. So sometimes people just forget to make comparisons between charts, and that's why they lose marks in the academic writing task 1. So you have to make effective comparisons between the figures also when there are multiple charts. And we'll go over all of these techniques late in some of the videos which I'll be doing later this week. And finally, coming to the speaking section, so here I've picked out only the cue cards for speaking, just because all the task 1 and the part 1 and part 3 questions, there are just too many of those. So I wanted to just pick out the most frequently asked cue card topics, and all of these are available on my website also, so you can go there and check out all the detailed speaking tests that have been posted. So here are some of the most frequently asked speaking cue cards. Describe an important river or lake in your country, and you should say what is this river called, how long or big it is, and explain why it is important. Again, when you get a cue card, it is just for 2 minutes. You get 1 minute of preparation time. So before you start speaking, start making notes quickly about what you're going to speak about. Make sure you have enough points jotted down so that you can keep speaking for 2 minutes. And as soon as you see, and keep an eye on the clock when you're talking, as soon as you reach about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, start concluding, so that by the time it's 2 minutes, you should finish your part 2 of the speaking test. So another topic was, tell me about a furniture you have in your house. What is the furniture? What is it made of? And why do you like it? Again, standard stuff. You can talk about anything you want. The content of your answer doesn't matter. What they are looking for is how well you can talk, what kind of fluency you have, what kind of pronunciation you have, whether you make a lot of grammar and lexical resource mistakes or not. So use good vocabulary and keep talking. Just sound chatty. Just keep talking for the next 2 minutes, and cover all the bullet points that are there in the cue card. Another question that was asked frequently was, what type of dream home will you have? An apartment or a house? Describe where you will have it, how will it be, and why do you like it? Again, just come up with any answer, and we will go through some of the answers in detail in later videos, as I've said earlier. But for now, I just wanted to keep going with all the questions. Another question was, describe a famous person you find interesting. Why is he or she famous? What does he or she do? What kind of a person he or she is? And why do you find him interesting? Yeah, just talk about a politician or an actor or a sports star who's famous in your country, and just talk about anyone. Talk about your favorite toy from your childhood. What is it? Who gave it to you? Why do you like it? It's a very interesting question, actually. I love these speaking topics because they make you think a little bit, and sometimes things which you don't even normally think about, you are forced to think about them. So this is a great topic. I had never seen it before, and just reading through it, I'm now thinking of all the beautiful toys that I used to play with and in my childhood, and it just made me think about it for a minute, right? So it's interesting to just practice for these speaking cue cards. And finally, one of the questions was, talk about what kind of facility or theater or gym or sports center that needs to be built in your hometown but currently is not available. So something that needs to be there but it's not there. Just talk about that facility. That could be difficult if you live in a major metropolitan city like New York or Sydney or London or anywhere else where most of the facilities already exist. So one thing to really think about is that because IELTS is not a knowledge test, it's not about facts or figures, it's about your English language. So don't even worry about whether that facility actually exists or not. Just say, well, a gym is not available. Even if there is a gym right next door to your house, if you think that is something that you want to talk about, just talk about it. Nobody's going to say, oh, but that's wrong, I know there's a gym right next to your house. That's not going to happen. So just talk about anything that you want to talk about without feeling whether it's true or not, or whether it's a fact or not. So that's it, folks. That was a very quick video about all the tasks and topics that have been frequently asked in March. So if you want to get your writing and speaking tasks marked, I have a fantastic course which gives you unlimited feedback for writing and speaking tasks. Just sign up for it on my website, www.ieltsonlinepractice.com, and I'll be bringing you all of these questions from time to time, and I'll be posting about tips and strategies to boost your IELTS band score frequently from now onwards. So just hit the subscribe button under this video, and that way you will keep getting all the updates from me from time to time. So have a good day, folks, and I'll see you again maybe tomorrow or later this week. Thank you.